Oh, and
Okay, we're going to begin. So good evening, guys. So we'll be here for the next hour and a half. So I just want to go over the schedule real quick because we did have some adjustments to things. So just so everybody's on the same page. So obviously we have our normal class today. And then on May 23rd, okay, so that will be in a couple of weeks, we will have our ancestral karma healing class. Okay, so we healing ancestral karma. So today is overcoming trauma and tragedy, and then we will do ancestral karma on May 23rd. Week 6 will be that bonus course, which is going to be, we're going to talk about connecting to the spiritual world, connecting to your angels and guides, things you can do to enhance that connection. And then, excuse me, we'll do readings too. So, but today is overcoming trauma and tragedy. So let's begin with that. And we're going to do our normal teaching, and then we will move into some reading, some exercises, and then we'll also do some readings, okay? I made this teaching shorter so that intentionally so that we can do some more reading stuff today, because a couple of the last calls, the readings got a little cut off. They weren't as, I only had time for a couple more people. I'm going to try to make this one more like half and half. So we're going to do more like 45 minutes of teaching, and then we're going to do about 45 minutes of reading. So I thought that would be more fun for you guys, and I was able to do that. So we're going to talk today about overcoming trauma and tragedy. And it was interesting when I was doing this course, when I wrote out the course description, because I was coming up about topics that I get asked about a lot. And I thought, you know, what are some topics that I frequently will get questions about or people want to ask me about and things like that. And of course, I immediately thought about that kind of looks weird. That I immediately thought about that a common area that comes up for people is feeling that they have a wall that they can't climb over, feeling that they have a mountain that they can't climb over. And this typically has to do with grief. This has to do with something has happened and somebody perceives that this is something where their life will never be the same again, which in a certain way they are right, because probably their life won't be the same again, because there are these moments that do shift and change our whole life. So I wanted to talk about if there are techniques or things that we can do, because we probably have all had an experience that is a grief experience, right? And whether this is we've lost a child, whether this is we've lost a loved one, whether this is we've lost a relative, whether we have grief and sadness about a job situation, about losing a relationship that we love. Maybe we have grief or sadness around something that we just lack. We have grief or sadness over just loneliness or something like that, So we want to really think about, first off, we're allowed to have grief about anything. We can have grief about so many different things. So what I'd like you to do for a moment before we dive into this overcoming trauma and tragedy is I want you to list out, take out a piece of paper and pen, and I want you to list out a few areas of your life or a few things that have happened to you, experiences that you've had, and I'll give you about 3 minutes only, that you can say were core traumas that you went through, core tragedies that were either a moment in time or were a prolonged experience that you went through, that you had the distinct impression after that happened, your life was never the same. I want you to write about that. And I want you to write about that, just write a couple sentences to yourself, but I also want you to list all the emotions that it brings up for you, that either you had in that present moment or now even thinking about it. all those emotions, whether it's anger, whether it's rage, whether it's fear, whether it brought up anxiety, whether it brought up paranoia, anxiety. What is the emotional imprint that came up from this trauma or tragedy? So I'll give you guys 3 minutes. And the reason we're listing out these emotions is just to really start to kind of bring some energy to this experience of what these are. Because a lot of times we push these out of our minds and we no longer think about them and we forget about them and we repress them. And we have these moments when we have a tragedy, when we have when a loss happens, when a tragedy happens. And we can even think about this in the greater scheme of just the greater, um, you know, uh, events of the world, where it does seem like, we've had I'm sure, many of us have lived through, the events in Paris or the school shootings or the September 11th or the school shooting in, Connecticut. And even watching those on the news, just seeing those, we have this feeling that comes for us in those moments where it's like there is this collision of experiences, right? And we really, we all of us have this deep knowingness, like there has been a major shift in our life. Many of us who watched 9/11 happen, or some of the shootings on TV or things like that, where we have this immediate knowingness right away that is a previous world that was before that, and now we've entered into this new world, and there's this energetic shift. We have this for our own experiences where we've lost somebody, and we immediately have the recognition that that is pre that, and now we're into this new. And sometimes we don't want to even embrace that. We don't want to acknowledge that to be true, but it is true. Now, very often in these moments when we go through these tragedies or traumas or experiences, our soul really goes through a lot of expansion in this time. And what happens is the part of ourselves, the part of our human spirit that is resilient, that is a natural healer, that is ready to grow and shows up. And basically, we start to tap into that resilient part of ourselves, you know. And what is happening is when you are starting to, you know, when you have these, remember that your soul, your energy, your spirit, whatever you call it, is a communication tool and a communication vessel. So when your soul witnesses attack, punishment, cruelty, injustice, whatever, your soul is going to have a response to that. Okay, and you know so your soul is going to receive that and hear that and feel that and see that and respond to that, and your spiritual energy, your spiritual wiring that's within you is going to know and recognize this as a historic or energetically significant sort of moment. Okay, so you know, one of the things is that I want to say when we're talking about overcoming trauma and tragedy is that we need to recognize when these moments happen, because they happen and they're very clear moments and they happen, and there's a shift that happens within our physical, mental, and emotional body. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick out one of those things that you just wrote down about, traumatic event or tragedy or loss. You wrote your emotions. I want you to now write out 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, and just pick one of them and really kind of do a structured, really good job at this. I want you to pick out one of those experiences that you described with the emotions, and I want you to talk about 3 to 5 things that changed within your life after this happened, either physically, emotionally, health-wise, things that really did change in your life as a result of this experience that you went through. Go ahead and write those down. I'm going to give you 3 minutes yet again. Okay, so as we talk about this more, as I said, there are these real kind of quantitative shifts that happen. And what happens is you know, your body starts to really you know, even though we are as, I'm going to turn this light on because it's going to give a weird reflection, but I want to have a little bit more light. So as we go through this, and we do know that our soul and our spirit and our energy, and you know, we tend to be very naturally resilient, you know, so we think we can't get through something, but our soul tends to know the quickest route to our healing, and if we allow that, that usually will kind of show up for us, right? So, and we can heal a lot, you know, oftentimes a lot even quicker than we can, you know. So one of the things that I want to talk to about, okay, is I want to talk about how do we start on that healing journey? How do we do those things? What are the energetic blocks that maybe that can bring about us to be you know, not allowing that you know, healing. And some of those things that we have to start to thinking. We have to start, you know, we have to think about how we make choices, right? We have to think about how we utilize things like power, things like grace, things like our own personal spirituality, things like our mind, right? These are things that become really important through and as we start to try to, you know, we've had this awareness that, wow, this is a significant change in my life. And, you know, how does that go on? How do we go on from there? Okay. So, hold on one second. And I also want you to understand and think about how some of this can happen really, really quickly if we allow it to. Okay. So, so let's just kind of talk about this for a second. So we know that, first off, let me just kind of give you a sort of a geography of things. So we know that we have our five senses, and we have, especially in the last 30, 40, 50 years, really evolved into sixth sense creatures where all of us are intuitive. All of us have emotional, psychic, mediumship intelligence, okay? And that our energetic system is so important to our life, right? And basically, and you know, we know that we're almost, so much of our life is activated at the unconscious level. We have energetic patterns that we follow. Our health and well-being really deals with our energy in a very, you know, these are all things that we know, right? And our unconscious dictates that a lot. The stories that we tell ourselves, the myths that we create about ourselves, the energetic patterns that we create about ourselves. These are all things that are very, very real, right? So, and these are all things that we have to, you know, we have to be aware of, okay? We have patterns of how we deal with things, right? So, you know, and as we become more in control of those things, as we become more aware of those things, that is when we are able to, the more we understand that, the more we are an investigator of our own energy system, the more we work with our own energy, the more we study our own energy, the more we see the way we respond and deal with things. You know, our energy anatomy, the more we become conscious of that, the more that we become active agents really in that change of overcoming that tragedy or that event that we have. What I want to talk to you about that is, hold on one second, my note just skipped. Okay. So basically, the story here that I want to tell you is that you have a lot more power than you sometimes realize to shift the energetic direction after a trauma or tragedy. And it's not to say that you rewrite the trauma or tragedy. It's not to say that you don't have the trauma or tragedy. But you do have more of a power there than you probably realize. Okay. Remember that any second of your life, any moment of your life, okay, if you really acknowledge and understand that, there's moments and things like that, and if you understand that, then your job is actually only to engage the laws of energy and the laws of manifestation, okay? All you have to do is know how to use those things, and you can start to feel better, you can start to think better, you can start to act better. And what you have to understand is you are born with a strong sense of power to change your lives because you can make these decisions. You can say yes or no. You can say I'm doing this or I'm doing that. You make choices all the time in deciding what you believe in, whether you like a person, whether to lie, whether to focus on a certain area of your life, whether to forgive or forget. We're always making choices. So you can choose actually to heal. Okay. It's a long routed way of saying you can choose to heal from a tragedy or trauma. Okay. Everybody can choose to heal. Now you may say, no, there's no way. This is too horrific, too horrible. I can't. I don't want to. Now, if you say you don't want, now that is true, okay? You can choose to not want to. You can choose to stay in a certain vibration. But the moral of the story is there is not a doubt, okay, that that you can make the choice to heal, okay? And you think about it also, one of the reasons why sometimes we don't make the choice to heal, we don't make the choice to start to energetically, respond to this tragedy and make changes in our lives, is because we have trouble making choices. Okay, a lot of us get stuck with with choices. But what I have found is, and probably any healer, psychic medium, or energy practitioner will tell you, is that your intuition speaks to you on a regular basis, and it speaks to you clearly, immediately, and it will help you. Okay. Oftentimes I find in my practice when I'm coaching somebody, when I'm working with somebody in a reading, when I'm working, giving somebody an intuitive reading, I'll hear somebody say, I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. This tragedy has happened. I don't know what to do. And typically, which is why I call this week called Overcoming Trauma and Tragedy. When I hear that in my practice, when I hear, I don't know what to do, it is normally in response to a tragedy. My husband's sick. I don't know what to do. My child is having school problems. I don't know what to do. I'm getting divorced. I don't know what to do. So so very often what I find is, as we unpack it a little bit further, is that people do know what to do. Almost always, they are just scared of that. Okay. They are just nervous about that. Okay. We fear choices of our consequences. We feel what's going to happen when we make this choice. We know that making this choice is going to choose the course of our life forever, right? So, you know, I had a male client that I was working with a couple days ago. He came for a session. It's kind of a sort of a strange situation. I'll fully admit that. But anyway, so he is right. He came to me for a session. His father, okay, passed away about a year ago, and left him in charge of the finances, the business, the real estate, da 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 da. The other brother was left much less in charge because he's always been sort of not responsible and an addict and things like that. And basically, you know, he has found as much as he's tried to give his brother the benefit of the doubt without going too much into the story and wasting time, he's found that the brother is basically stealing. We're not talking about, you know, $100. We're talking about probably about $500,000 that he's been stealing things out of this business. And he, you know, he came for a session. He does, you know, and he said to me, you know, I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know what to do about this situation as the now CEO of my dad's company with my brother. And he says, I feel that if I keep my brother in this position, he'll continue to do this. He's dangerous. And he could cause a lot of problems. He could drive this business right into the ground. And so it was sort of a silly moment in a way. And I said, so, you know, before I tune into spirit, you know, I said, what do you know, and get any message that may help you with the details from your dad or something. You know, what do you want to do? What do you see? And he said, you know, I want to fire him. You know, I want to have him outed from the company and not have him there anymore. And I said, okay, so, you know, you've made your decision. You've made your decision. So you do know what to do. You do know what to do. And he said, but, you know, what's holding me back? You know, well, nobody wants to walk down that path. You know what I'm saying? Just like a woman or a man, because there's, you know, same situation, nothing have to do with gender, but, you know, I just have to see more women in my practice, but have a woman come, you know, she's in a relationship, you know, that the guy is not committal, or the guy does not really honor her, or the guy does not really support her, or the guy is, you know, doing something where he's, you know, double dipping into another relationship, or he won't leave, you know, whatever, any of that whole spectrum where it's not 100%. Okay, so leave him. So done. What's holding her back? It's those fear of those consequences. Because we know when we go on the flip side of that, we know when we have the tragedy or the experience or the, you know, like in this situation, the father death and then the brother stealing, that's our tragedy. And we know our life has changed. We know that, you know, the father dying, life has changed. Discovering the brother stealing, life has changed. Those moments cannot be undone, right? But we also know on the flip side that as we reclaim our power and we speak in integrity and authenticity about the intuitive choice that we need to make, we also know that our life will never recover from that either. That once we out this brother from this company, that will never be able to be fixed. That will put us on a shift. It will put us on a new trajectory, and we will not be able to recover from that. We will not, and recover in terms of we won't be able to go on to a new, that will be, you can't undo that, right? So so one of the things we want to talk about is, as we're thinking about this more, we want to talk about how it is, how can we take this course, and how can we to make high quality choices. Okay? um, so I want to think about, I want you to think about, I want you to close your eyes for a minute and take a deep breath. We're going to do a short exercise. Take a deep breath in, close your eyes. Bring yourself just to a clear mindset. I want it to be more at the level where you're not intentionally thinking of anything and you're just kind of have your eyes closed and you're just allowing yourself to just be in the moment right now. Okay? Take a deep breath in and out. And I want you to understand that everything in your life is teaching you something. I just want you to hold that thought for a moment, that everything in your life is teaching you something. Everything in your life is teaching you something. Just kind of as simple as that. Just stay in that. Okay, and I want you to decide right now to see yourself as a beautiful, lovely, authentic person. Take a deep breath in and out. You're going to see yourself, and you don't need somebody to tell you that, and you don't need permission for that. You're just going to see yourself as a beautifully authentic, loving person. Okay, and take a deep breath in and out. Decide that you're going to let go of all anger, all sadness. Release all that. Take a deep breath in. I want you to go back to that original thought that everything is here to teach you something. Everything in your life is teaching you something. Every experience in your life is teaching you something. Is that right? Everything in your life is teaching you something. Let's take a deep breath in, let it out, come back here to the room. Come back here. So what that sort of does is it takes out the fear, the anger, it takes out the frustration, things like that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. I want you to go back to those three things, and this one I'm going to give you 5 minutes for. And I do want you to go through the three things that the three events that you picked. And as horrific or horrible as these are, I want you to come up with one thing that this experience either you learn from, it taught you, you evolve from. What is one thing that came out of this that was a positive? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Go through each one. Okay, so we're now going to talk about a core teaching that is very crucial, and we're going to actually spend the remainder of the time talking about this. Because if you learn nothing else, I would say in this whole Hot Topics course, I would say that this is the most important thing to learn in probably all of the courses. Okay. So the biggest thing that I have found, and I have sat with thousands of people that have lost people, thousands and thousands, and I have really come to understand, not that I know more than anybody, but I have come to an awareness that there is something that comes up for people that is the most confusing, toxic block that I would say 85 to 90% of why people can't move forward from a loss. Okay. And if you can shift this belief system, you will empower yourself to tremendously heal. Okay. And this is something that all of the really, when you think about it, all of the great spiritual teachers have talked about. Wayne Dyer has talked about it in a certain way. Carolyn Myss has talked about it extensively. And it is a crucial shift that you need to make in order to heal from any trauma or tragedy. Okay? So this is important. We want to talk about this because, so this is important. And it's important because it really is representative of this major shift. So this is what it is. The obsession, okay, and I want to call it literally an obsession because it becomes that. The obsession to know, and it is, like I said, this is probably one of the biggest personal challenges of your spiritual journey that people deal with. And it's interesting too, because as a spiritual teacher, there's a flip side to this. So, which is that the need to know why something has happened to you. The need to know why a certain tragedy happened to you. Okay. You see, everything in our physical lives here, in our human lives here, we want an explanation for. Okay. We have this sense of analytical, logical reason, right? Okay. And we have, energetic laws in our mind that we feel direct human behavior. We all have a sense of right and wrong. We all have a sense of justice. We all have a sense of those things, right? And we need to, and we need to know why. So to give that up, really surrender that, goes against all of our instincts of being protected, of personal safety, of being grounded. Basically, if we release that, if we say, well, I don't care why something happened. I don't need to know why that happened. First off, two things. One thing is we feel that if we do that, even at a non-conscious level, we think that, well, if we know why that happened, it won't happen again. Okay. If we don't, and also we want to understand so we can avoid it. Was there something I was supposed to learn there? I often hear that. Now, what's interesting is as a spiritual teacher, Some of you have probably sought out spiritual explanations for things that you've gone through. Maybe it was a soul contract. Maybe it was something about a karmic imprint. Maybe it was something about a soul lesson that you were supposed to learn, right? Things like that. Okay. And that is fine. That is fine. And we can hold and think about things in those contexts, right? But we want to make sure that we give up. Ultimately, we are relinquishing the need for an explanation. And that we, in terms of, why was somebody ill? Why was this? Why was that? Why did we have a betrayal? Things like that. Everybody asks, how, I need an explanation. I need an explanation. So what happens is when we give that up, the need to have it, now sometimes we may receive it, right? So sometimes we may receive it for sure. But when we give up that need to know that answer right away and command it and say, I've got to have that or I'm not going to be able to heal. I got to know why. I have to. What you are doing is you are releasing the need for your loved ones, for your spirit guides, for your divine power, for your God, to understand, you're releasing that need to be that rational, logical mind. Remember that primarily we are having a spiritual experience here. And so what that means is that if our world here is primarily a spiritual experience, you need to understand that the laws that are in practice are the mystical and the spiritual laws. They don't run according to, rational human interactions. So surrender really is a course correction. It's a shift in our belief that others are responsible for our life and our pain and failures. Okay. So basically we say, I don't know why this happened, but I want to heal from it. Bring me to that healing. Okay. And so direct me to that. And that's what we become more focused on, not why, which is a question that may never be answered. We may never get an answer, okay? And let's even take it a step further, right? Let's say your son, I had a woman that I gave a reading to last week, okay? Her son was murdered, okay, a long time ago. You actually may have heard of the case. It was the Matthew Shepard case. When I was doing the reading for her, right, okay, when you give up that why, of course, that became something, why. So even if we were able to talk to the most ascended spiritual being on the other side and say, why did this happen? And the spiritual being said, well, that happened because when her son came here, he chose that path, okay, in order to raise the consciousness of the world and to make people aware of that type of, if you don't know about Matthew Shepard, it was a hate crime. He was a gay man living in, I forget actually, Wisconsin or somewhere in the Midwest, and he was beaten by people that met him at a bar or something. So, anyways, and obviously because of that experience, there's been so many. I mean, how we can't even count how many lives have been probably saved because of the awareness that brought to hate crimes, right? I have another client who lost her daughter to some sort of rare illness. I think it was meningitis or something. She's gone and raised hundreds of thousands of, maybe even millions of dollars for meningitis research and vaccinations and things. She's probably saved hundreds and thousands of lives. So even if we were to talk to the most spiritual ascended being on the other side, and they were saying, well, that your son, your daughter actually chose that because it helped in this way. And this is why this happened. Okay. And you knew that. And you knew that in the deepest part of your being, in the deepest part of your soul. You knew 100%. And there was no skepticism to that. You knew that, right? That, to be quite honest with you, and I'm not trying to be vulgar, that wouldn't mean shit to your personal healing. Who cares? It doesn't help your healing to know that why. Do you understand? You may think that it would, but ultimately it doesn't. It doesn't really actually help you to heal, to know why, okay? Ever. See, we have a thing in our mind because we are trained to live in that logical world here where, well, if I do this and this and this, good things are going to happen to me, right? These are myths that we tell ourselves. You know, and we need to think, you know, those are things that we think about, you know, and we call in, you know, we are focused on those. Hold on 1 second. And so, you know, there are, you know, and we tell ourselves these things. Another thing we tell ourselves is, you know, and if you read a lot of the work of, like I said, of you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Carolyn Mace, you know, other people, Wayne Dyer, they will talk about how the reason people don't heal is because they stay at the point of needing to, you know, at the point of needing to have to heal only based on, you know, knowing why. And, you know, that's that old saying, when you think about it, also remember that those stories you tell yourself and those experiences you stake in text you know, it's, you know, that there's that old saying that I've heard many times. I don't actually know who originated, but they, you know, they say your biography becomes your biology. So those stories you start to tell yourself start to be imprinted into you in terms of your health, in terms of your wellness, things like that. So you also have to begin to think about if you want to personally heal. Do you want to heal? Do you want to feel better? Okay. Do you want to, you know, do you want to release some of this? Do you want to start to grow? Do you want to, or do you, because sometimes it's easier to stay in that healing momentum. I mean, in that momentum of just being stuck. I have this happen all the time when I do readings for people, right? They come, they get a reading, there's this momentum of healing, of positive energy, they leave, they can't hold on to it. 2-3 weeks later, they're struggling with the same problems again. You know, and so one of the things is to stay in that momentum, to really, you know, because, you know, and to stay in that trajectory of going further and further and further and further, and really trying to expand and grow, and knowing that it's not a requirement that you know why things happen to you, or there's a reason or a logic. Remember, again, like I said, that spiritual world that is operating over there does not always function on our logical, rational, A plus B, 1 and 1 is 2 path. It doesn't function like that, okay? So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to do one more exercise. We're going to do a couple exercises. Actually, let's actually do 2 exercises and see if we can make this happen. So one thing I wanted you to talk about is get a clean slate of paper, and we're going to try to spend a few minutes on this. I want you to think about, and I don't want you to think about next week, 3 days from now, a month from now. I want you to think about 5 things that you can do that either physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically can help you to go and grow in a positive direction that you can start tomorrow. Okay? So they can be a belief system you're going to commit to. They can be an affirmation you're going to commit to. I want you to come up with 5 things, and I want you to relate them to one of the problem areas that we came up. Remember, we did the 3 tragedies? So go ahead and do that. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Go ahead and also share these in the chat, and I'll be responding and trying to help you tweak and understand this. We're going to do this for about 5 minutes. So go ahead and talk about things that you can implement tomorrow when you get up that can help you with your physical, emotional, spiritual trajectory so that you can better open yourself up to healing. Instead of focusing on why, instead of focusing on that, where can you focus that will help you to move forward? Small things you can do, and go ahead and put them in chat. I also responded to a person's question that just was talking about, again, a forgiveness thing, which is great because this is a hard one to crack. So I went and responded to that. Remember also, because a lot of people are dealing with things related to, a lot of times with forgiveness. So what they struggle with is that forgiveness part of things, you know, and they need to, they want to know why, things like that. A lot of times that why gets really tough around forgiveness. Okay. And I just want to be clear. And again, just think about this out loud with me, but just remember this, that forgiveness has nothing to do with the people that hurt you. So if you have an ex-husband that you want to forgive, or an ex-mother-in-law, or somebody that harmed you, there is not anything, a bit, forgiveness has nothing to do with that person. Forgiveness is really a very, very, very selfish, self-centered act, which is focused on you releasing the need for that person to have any intellectual property anymore in your life, okay? Energetic property, not intellectual property, okay? So this is really good. A lot of you guys have put in some things, even small things that you can do tomorrow. I saw some people put in deep breath. I saw somebody say just being grateful, which is great. Be open to what is. Somebody also said just do some physical therapy exercises. Somebody says they're going to walk in nature, do yoga, compliment a stranger. So again, think of small things you can do just to begin to touch the surface of that healing, okay? And that's really going to be your big step in order to shift. And I want to tell you, this is just my experience, and it may not work for you guys. And somebody just echoed this in the chat, and it's a good reminder. I have found, okay, and it may not work for you, but this is what I have found. I have found that gratitude, there's a lot of things you can do, gratitude letters, or, whatever. Gratitude tends to be a wonderful vibrational thing that you can do to shift and to get yourself into a state that is more receptive, more loving, more kind, more peaceful. So try to do that, okay? So that's actually going to be the next exercise we're going to do on our healing, just because I think it's so powerful. So we're going to do a gratitude exercise right now. Here's what we're going to do. Now, gratitude does not have to be related to anybody that you're dealing with, okay? So, you don't have to be, you could express gratitude to your fourth grade teacher or something. So we're going to do a gratitude exercise. I'm going to give you just 2 minutes to do this. So I want you to either write a list of things you're grateful for, maybe email or text somebody real quick and just let them know something you're grateful for. Focus on something that you're grateful for. You could also, reach out to somebody who's in, so I want you to do that right now. Also make a gratitude list. You could do that, but I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that. And I just want you to do that. And then we're going to shift into the next part of the class. Okay, we're going to switch into readings now. So, what we're going to do, and like I always tell people, listen for the message in somebody else's message too. So, we're going to. What just happened? That was weird. That was weird. Okay, sorry, I don't know what just happened. That was weird though. Okay, we're going to hold on. Okay, so we're going to go and do some readings now. So we're just going to turn into readings, have some fun with readings, and we're going to wrap up. Remember, we'll be back in a couple weeks. We're going to do ancestral karma, which is all about working through the karma of our ancestors. Sometimes we do take on some of that energy, so we're going to work on that. So if you'd like a reading, just have a specific question, and I'll pull people either from chat or I will pull people from, like I said, either one of these. Okay, so let's go to Laura. So Laura O'Brien, I don't know if you want to do yours in chat or you want to unmute yourself. Up to you.
I unmuted myself.
Great. Okay, and what can I help you with?
I just wondered if my dad had a message for me. He's been gone for a year, and I really miss him.
Okay. So, and I'm going to be honest, you cut out just a second there. I didn't hear. You said it was your dad?
Yes.
Okay. And you suggest more, again, of just about a sort of a message or something. Okay, great.
Yes.
And just kind of how he's doing and things like that.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, let me see what I pick up, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, okay, interesting. So I'm getting a couple things here also. Now, I just want to understand this, make sure I'm getting this right. But I do feel, I'm feeling two men coming through. So I'm a little, I don't know how those are connected, but I feel
I have a stepfather that's in
Okay.
spirit also.
Uh-huh. And were you close to him at all?
Yes.
Okay. But not the same as your dad, really?
Well, we weren't, me and my dad weren't extremely close either.
Okay.
Kind of towards the end a little bit more.
Okay. Okay. Let me just see if I can get a little bit more with this. Hold on, because I do feel two men coming through. I'm also getting something, I'm just trying to understand this, but do you understand issues? And let me just do it this way too. This may actually help me because I've got these two men here. What is Dad's first name, just so I can focus on him a little bit more?
Joe.
Joe. So Joe, and can I ask you this also? I am feeling this. Is there a recent, or I don't know what I'm seeing with this totally, but is there a passing date that your dad would bring up that's recent, or did somebody just have was there just recently a date that he would talk about that would be significant?
Well, he passed March 29th, so it's a year, March 29th.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
Now,
what it is.
you understand also, I'm just trying to see this. I don't know why I'm getting this, but would you understand anything with a restaurant that your dad would show me? And I don't know what this has to do with, but for some reason I'm getting that. So is there something with a restaurant?
Yes. He was big on going out to dinner, and I took my kids and we went to one of his favorite restaurants on his birthday this year.
Oh, okay. And you did that kind of just as in kind of like to honor him type of thing?
Yes.
Okay. So I think maybe he could even be, he could definitely be maybe bringing that up or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to say also too, and you did that just as kind of like a special thing for him.
Yes, we did.
Okay. I want to say also, I'm feeling this too. Now, this is interesting. I'm getting something about this, and I don't know. I could be totally wrong about this. Maybe I'm just totally, I don't know. You weren't, and this is a separate thing than what I was hearing about, but you weren't thinking of buying a restaurant.
I actually went to look at a building a couple of weeks ago. Yes.
Hmm. And would that be for a restaurant?
A bar, because I own a bar right now, but I was looking to relocate.
How interesting. Okay. And is that something that I mean, with your dad, did he know about your bar here? Did all?
The one I have now, yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's been there.
Oh, he's been to it and stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask you this too? Because I am hearing this name. Um, Charlotte?
That's my mother.
Okay.
Oh my
And
God.
so that's your mother that your dad left behind?
Yes, but my mother was remarried. They got divorced.
Okay, got you. For some reason, I'm sensing this, and I don't really know why, but for some reason, I do feel like your dad kind of wants to acknowledge her. So, well, you know what? I'm wondering then that could be more your stepfather, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know Steve?
Oh my God. Yes, that's my stepfather.
Okay. So, okay, so that could be more with that. Okay. And I feel also too, and were you close to him? You said sort of?
Yes, towards the end also I got closer with him.
Okay. Did he, can I just ask you this? Would he consider you like a daughter to him? Was he in your life that long?
Yes, I think so.
So he was in your life like even when you were growing up, maybe?
No, I was in my 20s when they got together.
Okay, but a long time. Now,
Yes.
let me ask you this too, because I am hearing this. It feels like Dad is bringing through also a message for Lynn or
Oh my God, that's my sister.
Okay. Now I'm just trying to understand this. Are you having issues with her at all?
Oh, she's I don't know how to really explain her. She's difficult, and I've tried to be there for her, but we still argue quite a bit.
Okay. So it's just more of just her a little bit, just her energy is like that and stuff, and you just try to.
I'm trying.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Okay. But she is like a challenge for you.
Yes, she really is.
I want to say, just as I'm feeling this here, what I'm sensing, is that I think Dad is talking about this, but oh, and also, do you know Dora?
Dorothy, maybe?
It could definitely be. I was going to see either Dora or Doris or Dorothy. There's a female coming through.
That's my stepmother, my father's wife.
Okay. And were you close to her at all?
Well, yeah, I was.
Okay. And I just want to tell you this with your dad. Well, let me just ask this. Is there something with addiction?
Not for me, no.
Okay.
My son's father, he passed away. He had an addiction. I don't know if he might be coming through too.
Okay. And he passed from an addiction?
Oh, and I'm sorry, my father was an alcoholic. I don't know if maybe that's what he's talking about.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me see if I can get this right. Hold on one second, because I feel like I will be able to get this right. Hold on one second. So, yeah, I think that I'm getting something about, yeah, it's either, I think I'm getting so it's like so it's not your first husband, but it's like you weren't married to him, but he was his father?
My son's father, yes.
But you were never married to him?
No.
And did he die a long time ago?
A couple years ago.
Okay. 'Cause he did basically pass from addiction stuff or something.
Yeah, an overdose.
Uh, is there like a T name?
My son's name is Tyler.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is actually him coming through. And so you're very present with your son, right? You're very close to him and stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand this man telling me that he moved away or he lived far away from you guys or something?
He lived in the same state, but he had no contact with my son. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if that's
So he was
maybe
literally
what it was.
yeah, okay. That could be then what I'm getting and stuff. And I feel also, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Yeah. I think also too, this is just a message I'm getting. I'm gonna actually, just to be honest, I'm gonna put you back on mute because I feel like I could stay with you forever, but I'm not going to. I just was told that this building thing is going to be happening, and just be open to the way that it happens. It might not be like an immediate thing, but I do see this as a path that is happening. Sorry I had to cut you off, but I want to make sure that I get to some other people too. Wanted to let you know we're going to do this kind of a little differently with this, if anybody connects with this. There's somebody that comes through that's connected to Syracuse. Well, I don't know if it's definitely Syracuse, but it's that area, sort of like upstate New York. And this person is this person is died by suicide or a drug overdose, male. I think it was more like a boyfriend or something. So if anybody understands that. I also have somebody coming through that is Rita. So I'm not really sure who that is. But I am hearing that name, Rita. So that keeps coming through. I don't know if anybody can take any of those. I'm going to go to somebody else though. So now I'm going to go up to Stacy, who is asking about her relationship. So Stacy, do you want to go in chat or would you rather unmute yourself?
Oh, I've unmuted myself.
Okay, great. So go ahead with your question, dear.
I'm just asking if it's time to pack it in with my marriage or if there's hope of saving it, you know?
Okay. So you want to know about your basically about your marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what comes in, if we even get anything, or let me just see here. Hold on one second. Now, is this something that you've been dealing with is this something you've been dealing with for a long time?
Yeah, for a couple years.
Okay. Hold on. Huh.
Getting nothing.
Nope, I'm getting a lot actually. Just calm down. Hold on one second. Okay. Do you understand why I'm seeing a really, 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 really big funeral?
Yeah, that was my dad was murdered and a lot of people showed up.
Okay. Like hundreds?
Yeah, there was over 400 people.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, and do you understand also, were there people that, like spoke at his funeral and were there people that were there speeches given?
The main speech was done by me because we were like two peas in a pod and best friends.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
Okay.
there was.
And I want to say also, as I'm connecting here too, I feel that what I'm hearing is, and so because I want to feel, I feel like I am being told about a speech or giving speeches, so maybe he's just talking about your giving a speech. I want to ask you too, was there something also too where you had to go through, was there a trial?
Trial, I'm in Canada, so my trial, even though the murder was almost 2 years ago, my trial's not till next April.
Okay.
So I haven't even been to that point yet. So
Okay, so there will be one though, right?
yeah.
Okay. Do you understand at all the name David,
Yep, that would be his brother.
who's in spirit with him?
Yeah, he just passed away at Christmas.
Okay. Do you understand also because I think actually what's happening is you asked a question, but because you were really connected to your brother, I'm sorry, to your dad, he's sort of stepping forward, and he, I feel like he's the one that's sort of going to answer the question stuff. Now, did he know about your marriage issues at all?
Of course.
Uh-huh. And you would talk to him about it and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to do what I'm going to do with this. And by the way, also, is there was there some sort of robbery that happened?
Yeah, he was robbed of a bunch of coins like 3 years before he died by my nephew who had drug issues.
Okay.
But that nephew also passed, so.
Okay. And then I also am seeing also, hold on one second. I have another message coming through. Who is Sandy?
That's my sister.
Okay. Are you close to her?
Right now, no, because her and my brother are unhappy with my dad's will, so to speak.
Okay. And they haven't totally accepted this or something?
No, they're fighting it, and they're trying to take my house as part of the estate, so.
And you're fighting them on that, correct?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything with them getting your house, but I think that I just feel like I sense that they're grieving a lot, and they're just sort of like grasping at things and trying to cause issues and things. So here's what I'm getting as far as a message. So I'll put you back on mute and give you the message so we can move on to somebody else. Also, I'm keeping these a little shorter. I pulled an oracle card here about your marriage, and the message that I got was peace. And that's the oracle card. So what that means to me is that no matter what happens here, there is going to be a state of peace that comes into your life. And right now it feels like everything, there's literally just a tremendous amount of turmoil with everything that's going on. I mean, they're just showing me, between your dad and this and financial stuff. And I see even like, we didn't even get into this, but I see like health problems with people around you. So it just feels like every which direction. Basically, Spirit is telling me you need to stay in the here and now. You need to kind of not get too ahead of yourself in terms of what's going to happen 6 months down the road, a year down the road, things about that. What I am seeing when I ask about this, when I ask ultimately, is this what is going to happen here? They're showing me the ultimate outcome card was I did an oracle card, and it was the flexible card, but it's upside down, which makes me feel that there's an inability to change here ultimately. So what that means to me is that either, and I actually think it could be more you, but it just shows me that either you or your husband, there is sort of an unwillingness to change, and that somebody just really just energetically can't change. And they are, so there's not really a mute, and it feels like you will separate. I can't give you totally the timing that I feel with that, but that's basically what I'm feeling, that you will separate. Okay. Let's go on to next person. And I know some of these are really complex. I'm trying my best. So I'd like to do Erin. Erin, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself or if you want to do it in chat, but we have Erin.
I'll do it in chat.
Well, you just unmuted yourself, so you want to do it here?
Or I'll unmute myself, I mean.
Yeah, you unmuted yourself. Okay, great. So you want to do your question here, and where are you calling from?
Where am I calling from?
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. What can I do for you, dear?
Well, my best friend, who was a big chocolate lab, passed away unexpectedly about a week and a half ago. And I just want to know if she is doing well, if she is okay. We have some spirits in our house, and I just want to make sure that she is above and not stuck here.
She's not stuck there, but she is. And can I ask you too, did she have like a really kind of like a goofy spirit?
She was, yeah.
Very
she definitely
goofy.
was.
Big personality, I feel like, but it almost feels like she was a big ham. Do you understand?
Oh, absolutely, she was. Yes, very much so.
So she is around you. I feel she is coming through. And I feel also too that now I don't really get her being sick. Was this more something where she wasn't sick?
She had she had Addison's disease, but then she suddenly had seizures every once in a while, but then she had 8 within the 48 hours and just passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And we had I would say sort of an uptick in activity. We have some, like I said, some spirits in our house, and we'd had some kind of uptick in activity around here. And then I was just afraid that she might be stuck with them.
No, I don't get that. I mean, I do feel like there's a lot of energy in and out of your home, but I don't feel like she is stuck with them. I also want to tell you too, I'm seeing this just kind of came in. Are you, or did you, this came in too, kind of unrelated to what you're asking, but since I got the message, I'm going to give it to you. Are you moving?
Am I what?
Are you moving? Is there something where you want to be moving or something? Are you moving?
I want to be.
Uh-huh.
Not currently, but
you're not planning it right now. But is it possible that I could see you moving, or have you thought about moving?
It's not in any plans, but I'm scared of this house. Mm-hmm. I'm scared of the spirits that are here.
Okay. So maybe also too, yeah, I mean, I wonder then maybe that might be part of that, maybe that's what they're talking about. Maybe it is that you actually have to move, because I did an oracle card for you. Mm-hmm. And what I heard, what I got was move. Yeah. So, yeah. So,
because I was healthy when we moved in this house 11 years ago. I was healthy, and now I'm completely disabled. I can't work.
Right. So I think there is definitely an energy that is, definitely. Yeah, I think there is definitely an energy in that house that you need to be aware of. I keep hearing move, 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 and I did an oracle card, and there was a couple people are saying, about burning sage and stuff, but I feel like this is more than that. I think that this is a little bit more than that. I think that this is something that you have to really kind of, be, that's what this might be something where you have to kind of really actually shift and stuff. Okay, let's try to get one more reading. So 2 dates came into my mind. One is February 23rd, 1999, and what is March 14th, 1999. So can anybody connect with this? I'm looking, if anybody could understand those 2 dates, February 23rd, 1999, and March 14th, 1999. February 23rd, 1999, March 14th, 1999. My mom passed March 14th, 1999. I also need to talk about, too, a birthday connection with February 23rd. A birthday connection. So does anybody? Okay, Kim has her birthday is February 23rd, and she has her. All right, so let's pull up Kim. This must be for her. Kim, I'm going to pull you up.
I can't believe it.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi, this is Thomas. Hi.
Hi, Tom.
Is this Kim?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So you have a connection to March 14th, and
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So and you said this connects to your mother?
Right. My mother fell from her hospital bed. She fell on my birthday, February 23rd, 1999.
Okay.
She fell on my birthday, and then she passed March 14th, 1999.
Okay. And do you know who Uncle Bill is?
Uncle Bill, oh my God. Thomas, you're making my world. Uncle Bill is my boyfriend's uncle who became my dearest, closest surrogate father, and he just passed in August.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I feel like he's definitely watching over you too. He comes forward too. Did he have children?
Did he have what?
Did he have children?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And was there a big debate or problem with his children with them putting him in a nursing home?
Oh my God. Yes, and I was trying to save him from that, and I failed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want you to understand also, too, we've talked about this in the class, too, right? Nobody is powerful enough necessarily to kind of, to save anybody or anything like that. So sometimes there's just things that, we have to just kind of be aware of, and these things show up, and we do the best that we can. But Mom is telling me about, even at the end, stuff happening with her where you feel like things were not properly taken care of. You feel like, there
right. I failed that one too.
Right. And so a lot of this is just also your loved ones coming through. And did Mom have the dementia or the Alzheimer's?
Yes, she had dementia.
Okay. Because one thing she wants to tell me also is that she's very much now in a peaceful spirit role place. She has released a lot of that. She's no longer in that place of, where I feel like she really was, not able to understand what was going on. So she's kind of left all that. Now, is your health also a concern?
Yes. I have autoimmune diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all from the topic that you were talking about today, post-traumatic stress syndrome. I was married to, it's got a lot of fingers to it, but I was married to a boyfriend who beat me up for about 8 years, and then I got married to him. And I had a severe panic attack that turned into post-traumatic stress syndrome when I left him, because I thought I could hurt somebody, and I just not that nature, and it scared the heck out of me. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because I carried that anxiety, that horrible post-traumatic stress syndrome for 30 years. And I started drinking, but I have 30 years sobriety. And through that, there's the great gratefulness is that through the program, I got to a therapist, and I've been working on the post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's not gone yet, but I've narrowed it down to, it feels like a damn entity inside of me that is like sitting there going, I'm going to stay with you forever. And I'm going, no, you've got to get out of me. But anyway, yes. So I have health issues.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I feel like there is, I definitely get a sense of that and stuff. So, they keep showing me that and stuff. But I feel that, like I said, as I'm focusing on things, I see things being definitely a lot better and stuff. So, I definitely get that feeling and stuff. Yeah. So, I'm also seeing too, okay. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Do you have also, I don't know, do you live with a boyfriend?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. Is he having issues with his back?
He did. He does off and on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
He's on disability. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Hold on one second. Hold on.
Okay.
I think the autoimmune stuff is really more, you're taking on certain energy. And so one thing they're just telling me is that I think one thing they're showing me is just that the more you can release some of this stuff, that's going to really, and it might take a while, but I even feel through meditation, through, things like that. Can I ask you, do you know Dawn?
Yes.
Okay. Who is that?
My second ex-husband.
Okay. For some reason, I also feel like he's also occupying some energy in your body too. So you might want to do some cord cutting with him. I know that he's not the one that's as toxic as the other one, but you may want to also kind of work on that too. So, okay. Unfortunately, guys, we got to wrap up, but that was good. We got through more people tonight, which I was really excited about. So take some deep breaths, and I'll see you in a few weeks. I really wish you the best, and thanks for being here. And God bless, and we will pick up in a couple weeks with Ancestral Karma. Okay, bye-bye.